chào, hôm nay Cathy đi cái chỗ Winery, cái chỗ người ta trồng nho xong rồi làm rượu uống, rồi mình vô đây người ta sẽ dẫn mình đi cái tour đi tham quan. Bây giờ mình sẽ đi theo cái tour. That look like our model. Bây giờ Cathy đang ở trong cái nhà hàng bán rượu. Mình đang chờ cái xe lại chở mình đi.
And I'll be back, okay?
Thank you.
There's two more.
Yep, thank you.
Mình được thử nè. Cái đây là không có mùi rượu.
Yeah,
Right?
cái này có rượu.
Cái này có rượu.
We'll wait for the kids.
Mình order cho con nít là không có cái mùi rượu. Còn người lớn có mùi rượu. Nhưng mà của Cathy là không có mùi rượu.
Juices for the kids. Is that fine?
Sure. This is okay, guys?
That's it.
Your juices? Okay.
Thank you. Cheers. Cheers.
Okay, so the trick is you swirl it so you get the aroma. Cheers! Cheers, mommy.
Happy vacation.
Yes, vacation. It's a family vacation, family road trip. Yeah?
It tastes like apple juice.
Bây giờ mình đi. Look, that's so fun.
Hi guys, so welcome to Thrive. So my name is Jesse. I'm going to be your tour guide. So just gathered you here just so I can make sure that all 25 are here, okay? So we're going to start in our vineyard and then I'm going to bring you guys our filtration tanks, our fermentation tanks, up until our bottling center, okay? So you guys can just follow me. First pour, which is our bottle of a Gewürztraminer. Are you guys familiar with the Gewürztraminer? No. Okay, with the lychee fruit, you get that as a predominant tasting note from this bottle. Sugar per liter.
I did. I think you would.
I'm going to be your tour guide today. So, Brian, as you may or may not know it is a German family name. So the family's history of winemaking goes all the way back to 1626 in south of Germany. So if you think about it, in one more year, that's already 400 years of winemaking, right? So it wasn't until 1977 when Ewald Reif the 12th generation of winemaker in the family moved here to Canada. So in 1977, Ewald came here to visit Niagara. When he got here to the peninsula, he was like, oh, the kind of soil and the kind of climate that you guys have here is pretty much the same as what we had back in south of Germany. So why not carry over the business here, which he did. So in 1977, Ewald purchased this 130-acre property for just about 2,000 American dollars. I know. I immediately called my parents when I found out that. I was like, what were you guys doing in 1977? You should be buying property, right? But I think the nitty-gritty to that is, back in those decades, that was the government's way of kind of enticing wine producers back in old Europe, you know, and move their business over here. And back in 1977, we are the first 3 wineries here, us, Enniskillen, and Konsumen down the road. But fast forward to today, we have over 240 wineries here in Niagara. So, you know, they kind of incentivize moving the practice over here. And then, we weren't officially founded as a winery up until 1984. So in between those years, that's when the family started to build the property, plant the vines, the structure where we were in a while ago, the 4 houses that you see out in front. So these are all the families as well. So 110 acres are used for the vines, the rest are for the other structures that we have over here. And then in 1982, that's when Klaus Reif, Ewald's nephew, our current president and CEO, so he visited his uncle. I guess Ewald was in a retiring mood around those years. He was like, you know what, Klaus, you're gonna take over the business at some point. So Klaus went back to Germany, finished his program in viticulture or winemaking, came back here, took over the business, and it's the Reif Estate Winery that we know of today. And how I wish I had an uncle who would be like, you know, I've had it, here you go. And you don't have to worry about your first job out of college, right? And I think he was 23 then, he's now 63. So this is everything that he knows. But I'm going to explain further later how 400 years of winemaking knowledge that runs in the family plays into how they do and how they run their business every day, right? So that's a bit of the family history. Now, you might be wondering, Jesse, here in Niagara, what are the 2 periods and 2 methods on how and when you harvest your grapes? So for a regular wine bottle, like the Gewürztraminer that you guys had, we would harvest this around end of September, first 2 weeks of October. But for ice wine, we would harvest that around January or February, at the peak of winter. But I'll tell you more about ice wine later on at the end as I let you guys try it. Now, you might be wondering, what are the 2 methods? So, one would be machine driven, meaning we have tractors that run in each of the rows, and hand harvesting. So when it's through the tractors would have big metal arms on them. So these metal arms would latch onto these metal cables where the vines are intertwined. It gives it a good shape. Pretty much everything that falls down onto the net, that's what we use for a harvest. With that process, it takes just about 15 minutes to finish 1 row. Now, when it's a second method, hand harvesting, that's a different game. Warm for the growth of the grapes, right? And remember when I said that we would harvest grapes around end of September, first 2 weeks of October? But because of climate change, I know climate change is a very controversial topic. Not a lot of people believe it, some people do, the first 2 weeks of October. But because of climate change, it's gotten a degree or 2 warmer down here. Now it's bad for everyone, everywhere else, but it's good for us because the sooner the grapes grow, because of the heat, then the sooner we get to put our bottles on the shelf, right? The next section. All good? Okay. So I'm now going to bring you guys to the filtration center. Okay.
Bây giờ dẫn mình đi đâu nữa? Cái người này giải thích cái hồi xưa làm sao mua đất, rồi làm sao qua đây trồng nho, rồi bây giờ dẫn mình đi coi cái chỗ khác. Wow, look at big tank. It's so big.
That's what it's Is everyone in? Okay, so we're now here in our filtration tanks, but before I explain about the filtration process, you guys have a choice between two reds. So one is the Gamay Merlot Baco, and then one is the Merlot Reserve. So you might be wondering what the difference is. So, for those who are typical white wine fans, you know, lighter, smoother, fruitier I would say, but would like to try a red, this one's for you. The Gamay, the blend of the Merlot and Baco Noir. So this is as light as a feather. For those who are fans of that nice cut of steak, you know, that's drenched in butter and rosemary, this bottle's for you. So this is the Merlot Reserve, full-bodied, heavy on the tannins. So for those who would like to do the lighter ones first, if you could bring your glasses so I can do your pour.
First, right?
Oh, you get one or the other. Actually, I didn't have to
Merlot Reserve, you can bring your glasses over here.
No, you gotta try it. It's smooth. It's smooth.
Cái loại này là loại mặn. Cái người đó nói loại mặn.
Anyone else? Did I miss out on anyone? The kids? 10? It's at least 10 or 12, I would say. But the Merlot Reserve, So, once we're done pumping all of that skin and all the grape juice here, at the topmost part, we lay a gelatin-made solution. So that gelatin-made solution has proteins in it that's able to just detect just the wine juice and the skins. So what it does for us, at a given time, this is what's available, so we buy more of these. There came a time where the only things that are, or the only times that are available were these ones. So that's why we have them, but they serve the same purpose.
What's the volume of it?
So this one, it holds about 3.
Bây giờ người ta dẫn mình vô trong nữa. Đây là cái máy để làm rượu nho.
Oh, here it is. What's up? What's up?
Hey guys.
I'm just wondering, when can we get some more grape juice for the kids? Or is that just one?
Yeah,
Just
but
one
I
for-
can pour more, but it's on the others. Exactly. So, we're done filtering that. So, what we have now is and the skins, right? So, this is where it goes next. But before I hop on to, further details, you might be wondering, Jesse, why is it that the set of tanks that we have on this side looks commercially made, and then the ones over here looks like someone just made them? So these ones were made by the owner himself. I think back in the day there was a shipment issue. But that's when I say, and that's when I gush about the fact that it's 400 years of wine knowledge that runs in the family. Shipment's not going to arrive, no problem. We can make our, right? So it is pretty much these transparent tubes that you see over here, pretty much the same as these ones. Actually, it's a bit reddish, so they're probably just taken out because it was there a couple of weeks ago. So the way it goes, this is pretty much the last 3 years. You can never get it completely exactly the same, but we do fall. Yeah, and they're tanks. And then we just connect that with pipes and it goes straight to the bottom. Yeah.
Bây giờ mình đi chỗ khác.
No, we're not. explain how it works. Just a tiny trivia. So Klaus invested $650,000 back in 2014 to build this. So he designed this himself, but he had to partner with his
I got
company. And then this thin nozzle right here, this blows carbon dioxide. So why carbon dioxide, Jesse? Why not another element, right? Why not nitrogen? Why not oxygen? So carbon dioxide is that element that dries out and cleans up the insides of the bottle way more efficient, faster, compared to others, right? Than just like blowing other kinds of air, right? So, because again, while we source out all our bottles from different parts of the world, we don't know if they're clean.
Ok, bây giờ mình đi qua cái khu vực khác. Ở cái phòng đây là đóng mấy cái chai. Wow.
So pretty.
Oh no. It's so dark. I have to take my glasses off.
So these are some of the oak barrels that we have. We have more underground. So our oak barrels are a combination of French oak, Hungarian oak, American oak, and Canadian oak. So some of these oak barrels have been here for years, just waiting to be cracked open. So I think the one that's being fermented longest are those that are up above. I think some of them have been there for 4 years. I'll let you guys try. So remember when I said for ice wine, we would harvest this around January or February at the peak of winter? So we actually, are there any Americans here? You guys? Pardon? Okay, so, no, I'm just asking so if I have to convert in Fahrenheit. Yeah. So we actually wait for 3 consecutive nights where the temperature at night is between -8 to -12. In Fahrenheit, that's right about 15 and below. So let's say on the first 2 nights, we're within that good range. And then on the 3rd night, it's a little bit above or below. So we would have to wait for another 3 nights. Because there's something with that process of freezing the grapes around that temperature at night, letting them thaw in the morning, freezing them again on the 2nd, up until the 3rd day, that when you press them on the 4th, it gives you a sweet juice. So who would have thought, right? And I think the science behind it is the iciness of that kind of climate, when it interacts with the enzymes of the grapes, it just brings out more sugar. And there's a common misconception that ice wine started here in Canada just because we're a much more colder country up here. But in our books, ice wine started at a monastery in south of Germany back in the 16th century. So these clever religious monks found a deep connection between winemaking and worship. And you know, as I would always say, if I've had one too many, I'll probably hear him too, right? So you might be wondering, Jesse, but don't drink it. I'm going to start pouring, but don't drink it. So you might be wondering, Jesse, why is it that ice wines are more expensive compared to the regular wine bottle, yet it's exactly half the size of it? Yeah, it is. So a regular wine bottle would have somewhere between 500 to 600 grapes. This thin bottle right here would have somewhere between 6,000 to 6,500 grapes. So when you freeze all the ice wine grapes, the grapes compress, right? And dramatic as it may sound, when you press ice wine grapes, you only get 1 drop. Apart from that, the method is quite different. So all our ice wines are actually hand harvested, meaning it's actual people out in the field around that temperature grabbing the grapes, right? So again, we have to pay a premium for people working in harsh conditions. So can you imagine a person harvesting ice wine grapes? 1, 2, 3, 6,500. There's my first bottle. And to make matters worse, when we harvest our ice wine grapes, it's done between 12 midnight up until 5 in the morning. You might be wondering why. Because the grape still has to be frozen when we move them from the field onto our press machine. Because again, when they're all thawed in mush, we lose our drops along the way, we lose our bottles. And here in Niagara, ice wines are all considered as liquid gold. This is probably Niagara's biggest export. So whatever ice wines Niagara makes, it does 95% of the supply all over the world. So we haven't talked about British Columbia, we haven't talked about Quebec, we haven't talked about Finger Lakes in New York State, and a couple in Washington. I believe they make their own.
Now, are they different wines from their summer wines, or are they just grapes that you use for the winter?
Yes, so it's the same grapes that we use for a regular harvest, but we leave them up until winter. So what you guys are going to try is our Vidal ice wine. So the Vidal is just something you use to wash off stuff you've had for lunch or dinner. And I say lunch because I know there are people who drink as early as 11. But only for those who'd like. I have here what we call the Vinea. So Vinea is actually Latin for wine. This is a good mix of our Cabernet Sauvignon wine and brandy. So liqueur but port-ish, if that makes sense. It's still categorized as a dessert wine because it is sweet, but I'll tell you more about how I drink it when you guys have tried it. For those who'd like to try it, so here to try it, the next night is Baxter came back home with brownies and vanilla ice cream. So oat milk, 4 scoops of vanilla ice cream, and 4 shots of this. That's like a black currant smoothie. So there's so many ways that I can play around with the bottle. At least like with me when I'm entertaining, I would mix this with any sparkling wine. Then you get like a black cherry and a little bit of bubble water.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I'm so sorry. Oh my god, let me grab that.
He's gonna get you choose.
You can probably use the jar. We'll go outside. Yep.
I see the backyard table with the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, we're gonna. Oh, okay.
I don't think we have enough time for all the attractions.
For the what?
All the
No,
attractions.
we just want to do go kart and go to the falls. That's all we're gonna do.
Zip line and go
Do you want to? Did you want to do like the horrors, haunted house and stuff like that?
No, that's fine.
No, right? We might go for a walk down there, or
Maybe
maybe.
the escape room we're talking about.
Sure.
But
If they
Katana
have
want the lavender.
You want the lavender field?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Cartier, I think we're gonna go to the lavender field first.
Okay, bây giờ mình đi ra.
We gotta buy. We have a kite. We have a kite.
Ok, bây giờ Bell đang chụp hình cho mấy người khách. Mấy người lại có thấy Bell là kêu Bell chụp hình giùm.
Buy him a bottle of wine.
Cross your leg. Yeah, look here. 1 second, okay? 1 second.
Raise it up there, so you can see. Or down. Yeah. Casa, look over here. Casa, over here. Hey, over here. Casa, over here. There you go.
Ok, bây giờ mình chơi xong rồi. Bây giờ mình đi ra. Mình có mua 4 chai rượu ice wine.
Do one to do, one to do.
I think you're gonna be a good farmer. Go pick some grapes now.
Yeah.
Oh, so beautiful.
It's so chubby. It's on the video. Good. Good.
There you go. Hey, Cartier, move over a little so you can see your face. There you go. Casa, over here.
Yeah,
Casa, Casa.
Cái tổ chim, mình thấy cái tổ chim nè, có con chim. Thôi đi. Bây giờ là cái trái nho còn nhỏ, tháng 9 là người ta mới hái. Over here they have more grapes, right? Yeah, this one. Bây giờ là đầu tháng 7 là cái nho nó nhỏ như này thôi. Xong rồi tháng 9 là người ta mới hái nho, người ta làm rượu. Tháng 9 Cathy rảnh thì sẽ quay trở lại đây coi người ta hái, xong người ta làm, người ta cho mình vô coi luôn. Ok, mình mua 4 cái chai ở đây nè. Cái đây khi nãy mình uống thử thấy nó ngon.
Let's see. Supercharger. You found it? Yeah.